Everyone, Delta One here. So, I was asked, again, this was today, but I consider it last night because I'm just getting off work. I was asked, do I ever have any issues with the police because of how my truck looks? Anyone that's even watched any of my videos where I was rebuilding this truck or when I was showing this truck around, I'm sorry, it was a little small BMW that went by. Asked with how my truck looks, do I have any issues with police or anything like that? And here's the thing. You have to really understand where I live. Geographically, it's different. I live in Mississippi. Every state has pretty much relatively their own laws. And Mississippi has, I've read through my code laws for Mississippi, and I do have off-road lights on my truck, but I do not use them for on-road use. Now, when I put my bright lights on, they do come on. However, you are not allowed to use your bright lights in the city limits, which means that it's okay because when I'm using bright lights, I can't be behind a car, and I can't be using them on coming head on. So they become legal. Mostly it wasn't really that I think they were asking about. I think it was mostly toward having the light on the back, having the light on the roof, and having the light on the push bar. Having the lights on my truck, the key thing is, especially here in Mississippi, is that none of my lights have a color. All of my lights are have a reflector with a clear lens, so you don't know what color they are. You don't know what color they are until they come on. And really, it doesn't. Here in Mississippi, we can't have flashing. We can't legally have flashing green lights, red lights, blue lights, and there's another color. I can't remember. There's another color you can't use, but I don't have any of those. Focus. But I don't have any of those colors. I'm messing with my camera. Oh, there you go. I don't have any of those colors that flash. The only lights I have, the red lights do not flash. They're tied to my signal lights. So they don't flash other than when the signals are on. So that makes them legal. The amber lights can flash. And the white lights can flash. Here's the thing. My light bar has a white light and amber lights. However, I can control my lighting. Basically, I can control whether or not the rear lights, there's a white light on both sides and two white lights in the front. I can control whether the back light's the front light's on. Now, here's the thing. I can't have flashing white lights pointing back without a reason. So basically, I can ride down the road with my hazard lights on and I can be flashing the amber lighting. However, I can flash the white lighting forward, but I can't flash it backwards. For me to be flashing it backwards, I have to be, I think the way it was described to me is that I have to be stopped. And it has to be for directional. So when I have the rear light set to direction, I can flash the white lights then, or unless I'm doing a run and I have a trailer on, then I can have them on then. But none of my lighting is actually portrayed as needing to be described as having illegal colors. I don't have any illegal colors on my truck. If your question is the number of lightings that are on my truck, that is a gray area. And the reason it's a gray area is because I've gone to court twice, not with this truck, with two other trucks, about the number of lights on the front of my truck. I had a red truck that had about 13 lights on the front of it. I don't know what I was compensating for with that many lights, but I was compensating for something. But the what it is that I never had more than 4 of those lights on at a time. I had 4 lights. They were all daytime running lights. I had 4 of them on. I had like 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Then I had some more lights in the grill of that Ram, and I had some lights on the bar that I had as well. And then I had lights on the back, and I had lights that mounted, like the rear light bar. I had it mounted on the in the grill, and I had another light bar just like it, mounted inside the bumper. So I never had more than 4 lights on. 4 of the not off-road, 4 of the daytime running lights on, including my headlights. And Rams only have 2 headlights on there. They're dual filament bulbs. Well, legally, you cannot have more than the vehicle's allowed lighting, which would be, let's say, 1, 2, 3. It's 6. I think the law said 6. And the reason it's for that is because you have like the Jeep Cherokee to have 2 running lights, a fog light, and a headlight. And then you also have like the Silverados that have a headlight, a bright light, and a fog light. If you don't count the bright light, you still have a low beam, a running light, and a fog light, which would make 6 lights because, 3 on 3 will make 6. So I only ran 4 running lights, and I had my regular headlights. Well, I got pulled over, and we ended up going to court for it. And the officer, because I took a picture of what the lights looked like when he pulled me over, and we went to court, and I pulled out the code. I can't remember what the code number was, and it ended up being that I was within code. Now, if I had switched on another, I want to point out that day I had unwired it and put multiple switches in the truck. So if he would have pulled me over a few days before that, I'd have been illegal because I think it would have ran 6 lights only before the headlights and fog lights. But I had already had that stuff switched over. And what I mean is, let's see, do I have... Okay, I have a... Alright, I'll show you guys what I mean, because I'm pretty sure the person that asked me wants to see what I mean. My truck uses LED high beam, LED low beams, and halogen highs. These are running lights. Okay, so that one has blown its amber lights. That one has, I broke that one tightening it, and that one blew its amber lighting. Yeah. But those come on with the low beams. Those are running lights. According to the police, they do not, because the lady had flagged an officer over at night one night, said that, they were bright. Well, I turned them on. The officer said, he said, okay, are your lights on bright right now? Now, see, the officer came over because of my headlights. He thought that my headlights were on bright. Then when the lady told him about the lights on the bumpers, he said, ma'am, they don't put out enough light to be considered bright lights. Those can be considered running lights. I can't give them a ticket for that. And I told the officer, I said, these are LED lights. They're bright. They're going to be bright. I can't change that. He says, well, there's nothing I can actually do about it. Because he knew the lady was just being that way for unknown amount of reason. I have to see if my lights will go bright. No. We have to start. Usually it's hard to push that button. Alright. I have a signal on. Okay. What we have right now, alright, is now, I don't know if it's gonna be bright for you guys. Is it gonna be? Yeah. Bright lights are on, low beams are on, all 4 lights are on. Okay, the outer lights are tied to the left high beam, and the inner lights are tied to the right high beam. The amber lights that are inside of those lights are tied to the marker lights, and that's how that goes. And I don't know if you saw, also these are also tied to these. Believe it or not, these here are tied to my running lights. Well, actually, no, they're not. They're tied to this. They're tied to that. That's what they're tied to. The puddle light. I don't know if you see the puddle light. Let me open the door. The puddle light is actually wired to the dome light in the truck to allow it to do that. So, I don't know what else to say about it. All of my lighting, I have it set up to not have to have many switches on it, and I have it set up to where I can use the factory install stuff, so I don't have an auxiliary because this is an ST model. I wired someone's truck up that was a 2015 or 2014 Ram 3500, where I wired the rear light, the rear cab light. Well, yeah, the rear cab light for the bed. I had it wired for because they have a fifth wheel. They had a fifth wheel in their truck, and well, obviously because it's a 3500, and he needed a way to be able to hook up, and he does God, what do you call that? Hot shot. He does hot shotting, and he wanted a way to be able to look at the trailer while he's driving to check to see if his straps are done without having to get out and check them. Well, I wired it to the cab light for the bed, so every time he'd flick that on, a light similar to this would actually come on, and it would flash the entire left and right side of the trailer. The wiring for that was wired actually to the trailer. The lights are mounted to the trailer, but the control wires ran to the bed in the fifth wheel to allow you to be able to just, every time he hooked up, he had to hook up electrical anyway. So I wired it to the connector on the trailer, so when he connected the trailer to the truck, it would automatically power those on, and it would get that same power wire as soon as you flick that on, which was pretty simple to do. But I mean, it's pretty simple to wire these trucks up if you just wire them the right way. But I'm trying to remember what I was trying to, because I was asked how much is wired on the same stuff. The roof light is wired to an auxiliary 12 volt. The signal lights for the mirrors are wired to the trailer lights. The light up top signaling system is tied to the trailer lights. This is tied directly to the battery. And all the lights up front are tied to the on and off switch for the regular lighting, for my regular light switches. And I think that's the only lighting thing I've done. I've only got two lighting components, and that's the over the head lighting and the button for the backlight, and that's it. I'm thinking about adding, I'm either going to replace the two lights that are in the bumper or in the push bar that are broken. Well, one's broken and the other one has a bad amber light, and I'm thinking about putting them in the back of the rear bumper for backup lights. What do you think? But let me, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be asked, do they work? Hazards. There we go. Yep, they work. Oh, and they're, because I tied them to the trailer, the brake lighting takes priority over, the brake lighting takes priority over the signal lights. So if for any reason whatsoever I decide to hit the brakes and the signal is on, it will do just like it would if it was on your trailer, and it would turn off the signal and maintain braking. But that's everything with my truck. So I'm gonna go in, act like I'm gonna try to sleep, and end up staying up all day. Peace.